everything changed for me once I looked at things from the perspective of the holodeck, I call it. The holographic universe, the idea of we live inside of a coded reality. Looking at these things for years, the 369, the flower of life, the golden ratio, the Vitruvian, all these synchronicities in the DNA of everything, the fractal aspect of our existence, and the possibility of how we manifest and create from this space. A tad note on creation. Some of the czars of old time, and maybe they still do it in the upper echelons of Dubai culture, where they synchronize the timing of when to consummate may not be the right word, but when to bring the seed into the womb for gestation. So the sort of alignment of stars and galaxies, and how we see these sort of circles and squares in our existence, and I can look at that as ones and zeros, squares being the one, the circles being the zeros, and the zeros representing the openness for receiving what the square or the one is putting into it. You know, sometimes when I go to manifest, it happens so rapidly, but it's really about bringing the waveform into the solid state. And sometimes that doesn't make sense to me, but I remember one time I was looking at what a candle looks like. Or what a flame of a candle looks like on a very zoomed in sort of level, and you can see the particles of the fire floating up into the ether, and I can hone in on that energy. I'm a fire sign, and I love to work with candles and candle magic and intention. You know, I'll say magic a lot, but it's really about intention, because the simple things that I look to manifest into my existence, I don't ritualize it, but and they occur, like a parking space. Oh, I hope I get a space in front of the house, and voila, right? That's a manifestation. That's a wish fulfillment. That's, Anyway, so I say these things to say, when I took a step back and I didn't look at myself excuse me. When I took a step back and I looked at myself as not really being here, it changed the way that I approached the existence. And you may hear from time to time saying that your body is a vessel. It's the soul that is driving. You are not your body. And that's true, and you can recognize that in dreaming state. When you dream, your consciousness goes elsewhere. And if our consciousness is downloaded, in essence, into this operating system, which is our body, and at a certain point, operating systems grow obsolete, and let's call that death. But energy is not created nor destroyed. It is transferred, right? You're transferring your files back into the ether. And when my father's file got transferred back into the ether, I started to look at the holodeck of things. And as much sorrow as I still hold, I was pulling on him so much in sorrow and in mourning, and sharing with him things that I couldn't share when he was here. It's interesting how our egos get intertwined, our avatars get intertwined with our spiritual battles and journeys, and how close we let ourselves get to the people that we love. But I started to get these revelations and things put into my universe, into my world, into my immediate domain that were only divinely planted there. I was pulling very heavily upon his energy, like, please help me out of this situation. And voila, I have completely changed, or not I, but my dynamic has completely changed. Or is it the I in I, right? The I am, the I in the I am. So when approaching my existence from the holodeck, I started to recognize the game system of it all, and the synchronicities started coming in more heavily because I had leveled up. I wasn't operating from the zombie-esque space of the day in and day out circular structure of work, sleep, eat, shit, shower, repeat. I was operating from the observer aspect. And as much as I looked at The Secret, maybe it wasn't my favorite movie, but I gave it a good 4 watches, as opposed to The Matrix, a good 100 watches. But in The Secret, there's a moment where she snaps out of it and she becomes the observer, and she watches herself in these different instances. And I can remember in certain situations where I have watched myself, unknowingly watch myself. Like if I go back into a memory, my memory is not from, it can be from my immediate first person, but it's almost like I'm looking at myself in those memories. 2 distinct ones that stick out to me at the moment. And that, I gather, is the observer effect. Now, I'm looking into the holy guardian angel, which I go deeper into it, and some I don't know, people call them, some people call it the higher self, or some people what do they call it, the Holy Spirit. But nevertheless, whatever it is, one of the practices is to look at yourself as if you are the holy guardian angel looking at yourself. So you take the perspective of the angel and you look at you. And unbeknownst to myself, there have been times where I have looked at myself from the outside looking in. And there's so many juicy little things that I can go into, but I'll save that for another time. The observer, when you start to observe your reality outside of yourself, what you know yourself to be. You know, it's like, I'm me, I'm sitting here, I'm watching TV, I'm operating, I'm eating, but you're operating a vehicle. Step out of the car. And when you step out of the car, in theory, in thought, and you take a look around, things look different. You notice different things. And it's not always, I don't want to say it's easy, but once you get in the energy of doing that, and when you can do it more often, you start to see the matrix and what the matrix is offering you, what the higher self is offering you, what the Holy Spirit is offering you in relation to your reality. Now, the things that I notice that are being offered are very, I don't want to say spiritual, but natural things. The things comes in form of a person. You know, for me, it was a person that came into my life. Now, this is a thing as well, that spirits use people. Now, what are spirits? Spirits are essences, are energies, and if with great enough force, they can take form, reveal themselves in different states of conscious awareness, which again is for another time. But they can sort of hop into dynamics and create environments and guide and lead. And when I was in that despair, I was always very calling, spiritually helping, you know, and I would get my little pick-me-ups here and there. But the energy that poured out of my sorrow, the energy is what they say really takes it over the top, cultivating heaviness and cultivating lightness, but cultivating a vortex is the driving force. When you have more force, think about celebrities as star power. They have a magnetic pull, and they pull with them a vortex, or they pull with them a tornado that revolves around them. or like